So you all heard about the sentence that the hybrid has a special power. But what does that mean? When you say business, when I say business, the first thing that comes to my mind is capital, competition, market share, gains, revenues, executive strategy, etc. But when I say community work, a new set of things that come to your mind is just like empathy, equity, sharing lived experiences, supporting each other's, a good work, community work, getting together to do a good job. But then what would happen if you bring business and community work together in one space? What do you think?
Well, that's funny that you say that, because what will happen is Value Nation is born. So just to tell everyone about Value Nation, it's a new social enterprise and a business that myself and my business partner Omar here have established recently. And what we're trying to do through this new venture is help businesses through marketing, through branding, through social media marketing, through building tools and processes throughout their systems to create successful, impactful businesses, while at the same time using those skills and using our connections to the business community to support our communities of migrants and refugees where we come from, and to empower those refugees to build businesses themselves, ideate from ideation into successful businesses, but also grow those businesses and scale up. So that's what Value Nation is about, is bringing those two aspects of our expertise into one business venture where we can have an impact in the business world, but also in the community that we are part of.
Yep, that's what we planned it for, and that's why we call it actually Value Nation, because it's a nation of values.
Absolutely.
And that would bring me to the next question: what brought you here? Can you take us like a few steps back to the history, where you're coming from, and why you are here, and why you're a part of Value Nation?
Absolutely. Long story, but to make a long story short, I came by car. And actually, I'll tell you about kind of how I came to Australia and what I'm trying to do through Value Nation as a venture. So I came here as a refugee about 20 years ago. I was born in Iraq, but I lived most of my childhood as a refugee in Iran and then in Syria. And when I came, I was 18. I went back to high school. I did year 11 and 12, went back to university, then did an honors, then did a PhD, all in medical research. Cancer research was my field. And after that, I looked around and saw a lot of gaps, especially in the community space. And what I thought to myself, where would be the best place where I can give back and utilize all of my energy and all of my intellect into the work that I really like doing in life. So that's why I went back to community work, and I started working the youth work, started building youth organizations, and worked with government, local government, worked with local NGOs and not-for-profit organizations, became an advisor, and did a lot of work in that space, and also got jobs in those spaces. And what I realized through a lot of work over the last few years, working in advisory roles as a consultant, working within the organizations themselves, and also working as a commissioner and very, very closely with government and how policy works. What I realized is that government and not-for-profit systems are great and they need it, but there are more, I'll say, more important roles to be played by social enterprise and business. And I think there is a gap in the Australian context for those kind of ventures to exist, where we can use social enterprise and business models to create change in the society. So my background is community work and government work, but even through the work that I want to do through Value Nation, where we work with real businesses on the ground, we help them develop their products, we help them sell. My real passion is to take someone from working inside their business to someone who's working on their business, eventually to create a business that is doing great work in the community. So how do you take, let's say, for example, a business that does accounting from being an accounting firm into being a great accounting firm to being an accounting firm that works with communities, where it educates communities about finance, educates communities about building a more sustainable future for themselves. So that's kind of my passion in bringing all of my community work and understanding government and understanding settlement and understanding the work that happens in the NGO and government space, and take that and bring it into the business space. If we can combine the two and create a hybrid, I think that's the best approach moving forward.
So what you're saying to me is just you trying to add one more layer to profitable businesses that is really rooted back to the community.
Absolutely.
So would that also have in mind that some of this work with the community for profitable businesses could lead to a new opportunities of employment paths, for example?
Yeah. So I believe that a good business is a good business that creates income and sustain itself as a business model. But a good business also has an impact in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that impact could be in multiple ways. So in a way, what I'm trying to bring from the community work that I've done is, as you said, for example, a good business, when it grows, it can generate more employment opportunities for others in the community. And that's what way the business could support the community. But it also can generate resources. It can generate information. It can create volunteering and mentorship programs. So there's a lot of ways businesses, even though they're not in a way funded by government to create the social change that we're trying to achieve, their business model allows them to utilize their own funds to build social change in the community. And to me, that's the most sustainable form of change, because in a way, you link the change itself to the business model. So the accounting firm that I just told you about, it's an incentive for them to deliver more value to the community, and therefore they gain more trust from the community. Therefore, more clients from the community will come back to them. So it's a full positive feedback circle,
full circle,
where it's an incentive to be good and to do good in the community, because you are gaining from that good in the community.
It's a challenging vision, because you still have to convince those businesses with the benefit of doing the community work and do valuable work into the community. So there's an added value of them contributing back to the community. It's not just generating funds and profits.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think it's crucial for us to understand the language that people use. So a business speaks language of money, speaks language of clients, speaks the language of profitability, proficiency, and also speak the language of
market shares, competitive,
and so on. And even without looking at the doing good in the society and the social responsibility, I think there is still values from just a marketing and from a business point of view in you investing in the communities that you are part of. And I mean, you would understand this a little bit more from your expertise. The new model of marketing is not just saying that I can sell you something. I actually need to build trust with the client. And in a way, I need to be a partner, long-term partner, rather than transactional partner with the clients.
Couldn't agree more. Agree more.
Thanks.
That's very interesting, Muhammad. Thank you for the journey. I have one question though, before we move forward. You made it a really short story, your very long story. Once you arrived to Melbourne, like 18 years of age, I think you've never been educated in English. You've been raised in the Middle Eastern communities and backgrounds. What were the most challenging things that you faced once you came to Australia?
Yep. I mean, that's a deep question, and every day I try to reflect, and every day I have a new answer. So I think now for me, at the time I didn't see it, but for now, when I reflect back on the journey and the decisions I made to reach this stage, I think the biggest challenge that I faced was clarity of opportunities. So when I came, I knew that if you're from my Middle Eastern culture and community expectations, I knew that if I was in a certain, I would say, category of academically successful, then there's only one or two pathways that I need to take. And that's based on an autopilot kind of, let's say, mentality that I brought with me here. And I went through that challenge, and I felt like I was succeeding and I was moving to the next stage. And getting a scholarship and moving to the next stage and getting good marks and moving to the next stage and can get was able to achieve some of the successes that people are looking for. But as I reflect now, I could have had made different choices when I first arrived if I had known that there are more opportunities and a bigger vision that I could actually take on as a challenge. And again, nothing has been lost, and all of the experiences and all of the challenges that I went through made me who I am now. But if I was to go through the journey again, then what I would love for is more information, more context of what the Australian society and what the Australian community and what the opportunities that I have access to would allow me to kind of take a different path in life. And maybe I would still be here, but it would be a different journey to get to here.
Yeah, well, as Winston Churchill once said, the deeper you look into the back, to the history, the further that you can see into the future.
Exactly.
So, I mean, changing your past, it's not possible. But what you can do now, I think, and this is a very valid point of what you've mentioned, is how to create more opportunities to newcomers to this beautiful country, where they can know more about the opportunities that is available for them to capture and to capitalize on, so they can make an educated guesses and educated decisions before they just look. Like, it's better to do it now than look back in the history, like after 20 years and say, like, if I just knew back then. So this is, I think, also brings us back to the value nation. Like, this is part of our mission, I think, is to open their minds of the variety of choices and what kind of success that they expect themselves to be in, away from the stereotypes that most of the refugees and migrants came with from their homeland, whatever it is, whether it was a Middle Eastern or not. So that means a lot to Value Nation as well.
Absolutely. And in a way, I have kind of the luxury to look back and kind of have the hindsight to make those observations about my journey. But the question that I ask myself every day when I'm working with people who just arrived few months ago, a few years ago, is that what we offer them may be success, what we call success now, but is this really what they want, or is this really what they need into the future? And maybe this is a good time to kind of talk about your journey, because as opposed to me being here 20 years, you've just arrived last year, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you want to kind of tell us about your journey and what got you here, and what is it the vision for co-creating Value Nation and into the future, what kind of impact we want to achieve through this venture.
For sure. But I mean, considering the age gap, so if your story was long, mine is going to be XX long. Let's do it. All right. My journey. Well, I lived my almost entire life abroad. So I left early. I'm originally from Syria. And I left early seeking new opportunities in the world. So I traveled, I worked in the Middle East, Europe. I developed some work also with Asia. And I spent mostly my time into developing my own businesses. So I was a very early entrepreneur. I think I started my first company, I was 23, 24. It went good. And then for some reason, we exited, then start again in a different country, different mindset. Eventually, we ended up by leaving where we used to live, and not really fortunate circumstances.
Smooth.
But it was, well, I'll tell you later on about this circumstances. But I think although it seemed, and that at that time, it is very unfortunate. But eventually now, when I look back, exactly like you said, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, to go back to ground zero after 25, 23 years of investment or doing your entrepreneurship. And then you go back to ground zero. No business, no money, nothing. You have to take your family and go back to Syria, where at the time, it was 2017. It was in the middle of the war still. So we tried to survive there for like 6-7 months, and it was so dangerous for me and the family. With 2 children in hands, it was very challenging. So we escaped to Iraq, northern Iraq in Kurdistan region. We lived there as refugees for 5 years, waiting for our visas to Australia. And during that 5 years, I did some really good work I was so lucky to join an international education organization where I created the marketing department for them. And I led a team of myself first. And then I grew the team into like a really valuable team with a lot of expertise, a lot of directors into this space. And we reached before June 2021 to run events with 300 employees at the time to run the event with the marketing team. So it went like really good and really successful. And it was more like a regional position where I had to interact with other countries, other members of the organizations, other marketing directors in different regions. And we built together the marketing of this and made it like really something successful. Eventually we got our visas in the middle of Corona. So, and Australia was no coming to Australia. All the airports were closed. So we had to wait for 2 more years. Eventually we managed to came here June 2022. So it is like almost a year and a half here in Australia. And it was challenging, although all of us speak really good English, the whole family. The kids, their native language is English. They think in English, they dream in English. But for us as parents, which is second language, it was really challenging with all the expertise that we have in hands. It was really challenging to cope with the culture of the country, the way the people understand and look at business and expertise coming from overseas. It was kind of really challenging. And I was lucky again here to have someone like you and some really other people around us to support me unconditionally. Just like whatever you ask, they're here to help. You were there to help. You supported me to understand the systems, the government. And with you, I met Muhammad, the first job I had in Australia in less than a month of arriving. And I led the marketing and the communication in one of the non-for-profit organizations where Muhammad used to work as well. We spent 6 or 7 months together. And over that time, I thought a lot of overlapping areas of interest and the passion to support the community. Although I'm coming from a really high executive level of business where everything is brutal, you have to kill or get killed, and money generation and competition and so on. But I still have that passion of the community and the community services and supporting the people. And this is where we a lot overlap. And through the discussions, we both together saw the vision of Value Nation, and that's how it came alive. The part of my approach to Value Nation is how can I bring all the expertise of myself as an entrepreneur for 25 years of doing business on really international level, and then being as an employee in an international educational giant such as Sabas. How can I bring all that expertise? And then again, part of my journey, I used to teach at the university also creative thinking and design thinking and creativity and innovation and so on. So there's multiple layers of expertise that I felt that are so needed in Australia to bring them back to the community. So it's not enough, again, for me to just create a successful business where I can enjoy the money and the financial facilities, wherever you can bring out from that business. It's important to give back to the community, because even in the depth of the marketing approach, well, this is what you mentioned earlier that I wanted to tell you about, that if the marketing is not really embedded within the heart of the people, then it's not marketing, it's
Not
a
really.
scamming. Like you're scamming people to buy something that they don't really need. The real marketing is to engage with the people on a personal level. It might seem like very difficult to achieve, but it was done, and we have achieved it multiple times. And actually, it is more rewarding when you are authentic with people and you tackle real problems and you offer real solutions, but in a package of a marketing. So this is again bring us back to the community. If you don't understand the community, if you don't walk the journey, as myself, I lost my business. I went back to square one, and I have to restart everything again. And I went through the journey as a refugee again into Australia. So all the pain points, all the challenges, they are fresh. Like it's just like 18 months ago. And I found that even with my level of English, I found that really challenging to get to the right information, to understand the system. And to navigate your options, like what shall I do? Shall I seek at the end of my contract with that not-for-profit? Shall I seek? And I actually asked you that time. Shall I continue to seek another employment with something else, or shall I go back to the entrepreneurship? And it was really deep question because it's a new country, and I still not really aware of all the opportunities.
Yep.
And I remember you told me one thing like. I ask you one single question. If I want to seek the same level of executive position that I had overseas, how many years you think I would have to work hard in Australia in order to achieve something similar? And your answer was like brutally honest. You said, never. And then I said like,
So different society, even different needs for the big departments of marketing in Australia. I want to take you back to something that you mentioned twice, which was luck. You felt lucky once, and then you felt lucky here. What's your philosophy about luck, and is it really luck when you keep knocking doors? And
well, there's a saying I really love is luck favors the ready minds. The engaged minds. So there are opportunities that's been thrown on your way the entire journey.
All the time.
Multiple opportunities. But if your brain is not wired enough, if your brain is not ready enough to spot those opportunities and take actions into grabbing those opportunities and build on them and use them into your own benefits, then the luck is meaningless. But if you are, then the luck is almost everything. It changes your life. So it is, if you want to think about it fundamentally, it's not really only chance. The chance is there for you to grab. But if you are not ready, if you don't have the mindset of keep learning, keep preparing yourself for something bigger, keep preparing yourself to do something more, not only for yourself and your family, but also to the community, then you're gonna miss a lot of those, what they call luck.
Absolutely. And in a way, not just from a business point of view, it's also from a social enterprise and from a community point of view. Many of us work and walk through life without really looking sideways.
Right.
And there are a lot of challenges, which I call opportunities, out there to be solved. And if you are only focused on what's in front of you, then you miss all of these chances that happen.
Chances,
And the reality is we are all provided with the same chances, but some of us look sideways to see them. And others never notice them. Therefore, they say we are unlucky because no chance came our way.
Giving back to the wired brain. If your brain is wired correctly, then you keep looking sideways and you keep hunting for those opportunities. If your brain is not, then, and that brings me to also another topic that you and I know we discussed a lot, is the power of inspiration. During my journey into education, I've met a lot of people, and my first idea or first thought about them, like it's a waste of time. Like I felt like my effort to educate them is waste of time. But regardless that feeling, I worked hard and I walked the extra mile towards those individuals. And those specific individuals are the ones who actually surprised me at the end of the journey. They all became award winners. They all started their own business, and now they are excelling in their business. So they proved me wrong that if you put any person, regardless whether they were educated or not, they are creative or not, with brackets, I disagree. Like everyone is talented, everyone is creative enough, but we don't recognize it. If you put them in the right environment and you inspire them the right way, they're gonna achieve and excel no matter what. And this is also very relevant of what we're trying to do here and I think we will have to talk later about how we're bringing the entrepreneurship support and startups and ideas for refugees and migrants to life with the inspiration, with the mentoring, with the supporting, with the nurturing environment that we're trying to achieve through Value Nation in order to equip them and enable them to move forward in their life and move forward into this new culture. And not against it, but with it, without losing your identity, without losing your overseas expertise, but still you manage to cope and excel in a new environment without losing your identity and your culture.
In a way, part of what we're trying to achieve with Value Nation, at least one branch of it, is to work with refugees who have created or are creating businesses and who are either struggling or who have reached a limit with their businesses. But most importantly, something that we want to do in the community, because we feel like there is a lot of focus on employment as a pathway to settlement. And a lot of refugees, as you're aware, that come here have many more ideas of how to solve real challenging problems through business. Or there are people who've run businesses in the past and they want to continue doing that, but the system doesn't allow them to. So part of, in a way, one stream of what we're trying to achieve through Value Nation is to work with refugees and migrants, because the journey is similar, and allow them access to these opportunities. So what we're trying to do, for example, we have a program coming up in a month's time where we are asking 20, or we're working with 20 refugees, up to 20 refugees, around ideas or businesses that they have started, and taking them through a journey of mentorship and training to allow them to clarify that idea into a business model and then build a business plan around it and really understand how could they take such a idea into a real world business. And I've seen a lot of these in the market where people try to achieve this. And again, what we're trying to achieve through our partnership is actually to deliver such training from people who have lived the lived experience of a refugee themselves, but also who have created successful entrepreneurial ventures themselves and understand the market and understand what it takes to build a successful business. So that's kind of the value proposition that we're taking to the market in that space. And what we're trying to do is to really start with inspiring people, inspiring refugees and migrants around taking an idea and building a successful business that sustains themselves financially, but also that has impact in their society, whether it's their community, initial community, or the wider society as well. So that's kind of one arm of our venture.
That's brilliant, because I think the successful equation between the business management and creation and entrepreneurship with supporting startups and entrepreneurs from refugees background and migrants background, this is where our expertise of actually business owners who serves an actual businesses. And to be honest, we started to serve companies and other businesses even before we start the actual formation of the company. So we didn't have actually ABN or anything, and people started to ask us to help them with their not only with their business development and vision and strategy, but also with other tools like marketing, digital marketing, event management, reputations, and Google ads, and so on and so forth. The good thing is about being a business owner, and for me, I think this is my 5th company that I started over the years. The good thing and the hard thing at the same time is how to start. most of the people have great ideas, but maybe 1% of them actually take a step into actual starting a business. We had no problem with that because we both venturers, and I had several experiences behind me in starting a new business, and this is where it's coming actually very handy to start this program, and this is where we can take away from all the experience that we doing with other businesses, successful businesses in the Australian market, and take the juice of all that experience, although it is just like 9 months now. But we've been dealing with law firms, accountants, executive coaching companies, art galleries, not-for-profits, and some of official government departments and so on. So the juice of everything that we do in the business that generates the money and financial facilities to us, the juice of that, we're actually investing into this program. So we're not only mentoring them or just preaching them. We actually walk the journey. We know how to start a business. We already started the business, successful one, and it's doing really good, and it's actually excelling. So I think this is where, coming back to the integration between the business model and the community work, where they together becoming that really powerful hybrid that I think it's a missing component in the Australian market.
Absolutely. And I think we talked about inspiration before. In order for you to be inspired, you need to see yourself in the person who's giving you that inspiration.
Right.
And if that person has not walked the walk, and if that person has not gone through your journey, then it's really hard for that person to inspire you. I mean, I can go to someone from a certain country or from a certain background or from certain, I would say, life journey, and start preaching to them about you should do this and you should do that. But if I myself have not gone through that journey, then that person will say to me, well, first come and walk through my shoes and you would understand why it's hard. So I think part of what we're trying to achieve through, I would say, this combination of ideas is actually to first, as you mentioned, make sure that we are fully understanding the market, and we build a company ourselves, and then we help other companies achieve success, and they trust us with their marketing, they trust us with their business development, they trust us with their branding, and they trust us with the ideation process.
Right. And even their vision.
And their vision.
Their strategy.
Exactly. And then we take that knowledge and we take that expertise, and then we go and we try to work with people.
Project it on.
Exactly right.
We
understand their journey and the challenges, and now we bring the real business entrepreneurship into that space and then combine it. And this may take years to perfect, but I think it should start with lived experience of migration and refugee, but also lived experience of creating a business and delivering a successful entrepreneur.
There's one more element I would like to highlight with our discussion is the ability to understand not only lived experiences and journey, but also understand the business models and financial world, and try to reflect it in a very simplified manner. Like most of if you go to any PhD study or any financial school or university, we add a lot of complexity and layers to a simple concept. I think we both have this ability to take a very complex concept as financial stability and projection of strategy for 5-10 years, and simplify it in a very plain, simple manner to the people who are actually joining this program in a language that they understand, and in language it motivates them to, like, if they can do it, we can do it. So that's one more element that we add to the equation of Value Nation, that I think we need to really focus on simplifying things for people, because they're already suffering. They are already suffering of challenges. They are already suffering of a new culture, a new balance and discovery journey. A lot. So you don't need to add more complexity to their journey.
Absolutely.
You need to deliver it as simple as possible.
And I think sometimes what I found is that the complexity of the system and the complexity of, I would say, the steps and the processes is actually a challenge, and it's a barrier to entry to many of the people who
100%.
have a great idea, have a great model, have the customers, but it's actually maybe that one or two or 3 steps that they need to go through, where it's maybe creating an ABN, or maybe it's kind of receiving a certain certification, for example, from a university or from a TAFE degree. That itself sometimes can be a barrier to us taking someone from, let's say, a disadvantage, or someone with just a great idea but unable to achieve that great idea, into a business, into a successful person in this country who is contributing both to the tax but also to the society of the community that they're part of. So again, these are all ideas that we're trying to put through the Value Nation kind of incubator. And at the other side, what we're hoping to do is actually to bring with us a great cohort of people like ourselves and allies, people who understand our vision, and together we could build something that is great, that is impactful in the society, and also that allows us to really kind of reflect back maybe 10 years later and have this discussion and say, oh, we were lucky that we started that thing. And if we look back, I think we made the right decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the journey is not going to be easy.
Of course.
From day one, you and I knew that it's going to be challenging. There's a lot of boundaries and a lot of regulations, a lot of even rejection from some communities, some mentalities, But I really believe in one saying that actually made me who I am today, and I used it over 30 years of business. Closed doors are opportunities for inside lights and paths that we didn't discover before. So when you hit a barrier, or you hit an obstacle, or you hit a closed door, it is actually a motivation for me to dig deeper and find in me ways to go around it or to overcome that barrier. So no matter how hard the journey it would be, I think it's going to be enjoyable. And it's going to be impactful, hopefully. And we're going to deliver it with a lot of passion and love and respect for our communities. And we would love to see every single one of them actually walking the same journey that we walked to starting their own business, achieving their own dream, and gain the financial stability, and also give back to their community to inspire others to do the same journey over and over again.
Beautiful. All right. I think we are coming to the end of this introductory session about Value Nation and what we're trying to achieve through it. Just want to give a shout out to the place we're sitting in today. It's a social enterprise. It's a cafe on Collins Street in Docklands, and it's called Meals with Impact. And it's a social enterprise that I sit on the board of, where we, through a social enterprise where we train women from refugee backgrounds in hospitality to create food that is culturally appropriate, and then we sell that food through catering and through this social enterprise cafe. So again, if you want to support a social enterprise, there is one here, and that's again part of our journey, is to create more of these and support more of these through the many different hats that we wear, whether it's board membership, whether it's an advisor, as a consultant, or a business development agency.
And yet we have to also enjoy the great food that they offer, because they are really excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would love to see a lot more comments and a lot of more suggestions. And if people are actually wondering where to start, I think this is the time where you need to step up, do something, reach out, whether to Value Nation or any other support in the community, and do something. The only obstacle that you have in your life is yourself. No one is hindering you back. It's only you. So it's time to take the move and move forward.
Right. All right. Let's finish with one word that sums up our discussion tonight. What's the one word that sums up everything we talk about today?
It's a hard question.
I know.
Yeah, it is a hard question. But one thing that I can tell you from the heart, that I'm enjoying every second of it. Every morning, and I told you this before, every morning, ever since we started this journey, every morning I can't wait to wake up in the morning and just rush to work, because I'm enjoying every minute and every second of everything that we do. And I think that would be the key for success. If you're so passionate about what you do, you're gonna reach your goals no matter what.
Absolutely. So the one word that sums up that sentence is enjoyable.
Enjoyable and passion.
Passion. And for me, it's energizing. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm also very energized about the doors and the opportunities that we will open, and I would say the change that we're trying to achieve in the community and in the society. And it takes brilliant minds to achieve those changes. And hopefully, it's us plus hopefully a tribe of successful people that want to join us in being part of our team, or being part of mentees, or being part of mentors of us, or being our supporters throughout this journey. So we're looking forward to all of that and many more chats and conversations between
100%.
us and between us and other successful stories in the community. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're going to bring a lot of, hopefully, a lot of successful models, and hopefully also from our refugees and migrant backgrounds, and some others as well. And we're gonna talk to them, ask them about their journey as well, and we're gonna discuss, and we're gonna challenge them. We're gonna ask them the tough questions. And for our members of community, as you said, like, let's hope, and I know for sure there are a lot of very inspiring individuals, very motivated individuals, very creative minds in our community. They're just waiting for the right chance, the right channel to shine and become stars themselves.
Beautiful. All right. So join us on this journey, and we'll see you next time.